Namaste. Welcome to the Advaita channel. My name is Anandi. And I'm going to start by listening to Muji meditation, and then reading Ramana Maharshi, Be As You Are.
Let's take a moment and do this together. Let's find a place that you can just be comfortable for a minute. I want to lead you into this. It doesn't matter if you are sitting on the floor, on a chair, or you want to lie down, it's okay. Just be comfortable. You may find it more comfortable to close your eyes. Straight away, notice that you don't have to make any effort or go anywhere to notice just the natural feeling of being that is present with you. It's not coming from somewhere else. It's simply here. Bring your attention only to this place, which already is here. I don't know if you have noticed, some of you may have seen it live and others may not, or you may have seen it on television. If you have ever noticed a stingray in the sea, quite often they're surrounded by a lot of tiny little fishes pecking around. And as you bring your attention only to the sense of presence here, lots of pecking little thoughts may come. Don't worry about them. Don't feel they must be somewhere else. Leave them there. There's a natural easiness with yourself like this. Perhaps the attention by habit wants to drift towards some activity, like what will you do later today, or what's going on at home or something. Notice this, but stay only in the noticing. Don't follow any thought. Just be here. You're not trying to get in position to do something else, to move on to some other thought or some place or some intention. You're simply here. And your sense of being here and that natural feeling of being inside, they're one and the same. There's no separation. Notice this. Whatever is felt in the body, just be aware of it. Don't analyze. Look, but don't connect. Stay like this. There's a natural feeling, as I said, of being. It may be felt just in that sense, I am. There's a completeness about this feeling, I am. There's no descriptions about it. It does not belong to past. future, or even to present. It's just the sense of presence. Stay with this. If you feel a feeling of sleepiness or tiredness in your body, it's okay. Don't identify with this. You're also observing this. Whatever images may come in the mind, they are just images on the screen of consciousness. They do not affect you. Be like the screen on which images are projected. If there is a huge fire on the screen is not burnt by it. If there's a waterfall, the screen will not be wet. Don't hold on to any idea or image about who you are. Don't describe yourself. Don't project. Don't create. Don't imagine. It's not needed. Notice that effortlessness. You're not in a state of belief, even trust. What is being noticed requires no effort. In itself, has no effort. Effortless. This is your natural being. Even the sense, I am, that subtle knowledge or knowingness, beyond even the saying, I am, that feeling, I am, melts also into being. There's nothing saying, I am. Notice also you're not in a trance. You're not somewhere else. This is meaningless for you. Simply, naturally, I'm here. There is no one who is benefiting from being here. There's no world waiting for you to come back. Simply, you're here. There's nothing to control. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to change. There's neither higher nor lower for you. Just your natural being by itself, unassociated, informationless. You're neither doing nor undoing. Notice this. Notice the sense I. It is also only a sensation in this. There is no need to try and visualize any image here. It's not a game you play. Be only in your being. All associations come later. Questions such as how can I stay here are completely meaningless. For whom are they who will come and go from here? These are mere ideas. In this natural state of being, you can move about in your body quite naturally, happily. This remains unaffected. You can notice this. There's nothing to control, maintain, project, catch hold of. Only natural functioning, unfolding by itself. It is not a belief system. It is not a system. If you have to answer the phone, you cannot come out of this. This is just a thought. If you meet someone and a conversation takes place, it doesn't take you out of this. That would just be a thought. If such thoughts are believed, then they become your experience. Where is the beginning of this? Where is the end? Who are you here? What descriptions can fit you? Do not hold on to any image or memory about who you are or think you are or should be. This is your natural mind, natural being. If the mind, in the form of thoughts, should suddenly appear loudly, it makes no difference to this, unless you think that it makes a difference to this. So in a moment or two, I'm going to ask you, you can open your eyes when you want. It will make no difference. Nothing your body does, nor your mind thinks, makes a difference to this. But if you think it does, it will feel like this. Do not be afraid of thoughts. You do not need to identify with thoughts to use thoughts. Notice how your life can unfold in its natural ambient play, and inwardly in this place. This is not other than your own self. This remains as it is. Now as you open your eyes, you will see that the quality of inner silence and presence remains like a subtle energy inside this body. Each time you turn your attention in this way, you will notice this beautiful, peaceful energy. Get used to it. And gradually, this current of joy and peace will remain unbroken in you. Don't try and tell anybody about it. When your mind is in a natural state of being, you will notice that you don't have to think so much, prepare so much. The feeling of anxiety, restlessness will not be so strong for you. The more you focus your attention in this way, the easier everything becomes. The lighter your life will feel. Again, you will notice that something feels more like a spontaneous existence. What you have tasted and allowed yourself to experience in these few minutes, moments, thousands of books and words have been trying to convey. This which is wordless and nameless and unchanging and full of joy.
Mujiji Ki Jai. Anantaji Ki Jai. I'm going to read from Ramana Maharshi, Be As You Are, by David Godman. And I'm just going to read from the chapter on surrender. And I'm not reading all of it. I'm just right now skipping to question and answer. And then we'll just see how far we get. Okay. What is unconditional surrender? It's a question. And Ramana, if one surrenders oneself, there will be no one to ask questions or to be thought of. Either the thoughts are eliminated by holding on to the root thought I, or one surrenders oneself unconditionally to the highest power. These are the only two ways for realization. Questioner. Does one total or complete surrender require that one should not have left even the desire for liberation or God? Ramana. Complete surrender does require that you have no desire of your own. You must be satisfied with whatever God gives you, and that means having no desires of your own. Question. Now that I am satisfied on that point, I want to know what the steps are by which I could achieve surrender. Ramana. There are two ways. One is looking into the source of I and merging into that source. The other is feeling I am helpless by myself. God alone is all powerful, and except by throwing myself completely on Him, there is no other means of safety for me. By this method, one gradually develops the conviction that God alone exists and that the ego does not count. Both methods lead to the same goal. Complete surrender is another name for liberation. Namaste, Pekka. Happy you're here joining. Hi, Amba. Feel free if you want to unmute if you have anything you want to share. Question. I find surrender is easier. I want to adopt that path. Ramana. By whatever path you go, you will have to lose yourself in the one. Surrender is complete only when you reach the stage, thou art all, and thy will be done. The state is not different from jnana. In Soham, which is the affirmation of I am he, there is dualism. In surrender, there is Advaita, or non-dualism. In the reality, there is neither dualism or non-dualism, but that which is. Surrender appears easy because people imagine that once they say with their lips, I surrender, and put their burdens on their Lord, they can be free and do what they like. But the fact is that you can have no likes or dislikes after your surrender. Your will should become completely non-existent. The Lord's will take its place. The death of the ego in this way brings about a state which is not different from jnana. So by whatever path you may go, you must come to oneness. Question: what is the best way of killing the ego? Ramana: to each person, that way is the best which appears easiest or appeals most. All the ways are equally good, as they lead to the same goal, which is the merging of the ego in the self. What the bhakta, or devotee, calls surrender, the man who does vichara calls jnana. Both are trying only to take the ego back to the source from which it sprang and make it merge there. Question: cannot grace hasten such competence in a seeker? Ramana: leave it to God. Surrender unreservedly. So beautiful. Leave it to God, surrender unreservedly. One of two things must be done. Either surrender because you admit your inability and require a higher power to help you. Or investigate the cause of misery by going to the source and merging into the self. Either way, you'll be free from misery. God never forsakes one who is surrendered. Be able to read that one more time. Leave it to God. Surrender unreservedly. One of two things must be done. Either surrender because you admit your inability and require a higher power to help you. Or investigate the cause of misery by going to the source and merging into the self. Either way, you will be free from misery. God never forsakes one who has surrendered. Question. What is the drift of the mind after surrender? Ramana. Is a surrendered mind raising the question? Questioner. By constantly desiring to surrender, I hope that increasing grace is experienced. Ramana. Surrender once for all and be done with the desire. So long as the sense of doership is retained, there is the desire. That is also personality. If this goes, the self is found to shine forth pure. The sense of doership is the bondage, and not the actions themselves. Be still and know that I am God. Here, stillness is total surrender, without a vestige of individuality. Stillness will prevail, and there will be no agitation of mind. Agitation of mind is the cause of desire, the sense of doership and personality. If that is stopped, there is quiet. There, knowing means being. It is not the relative knowledge involving the triads, knowledge, knowing, and known. Question. Is the thought, I am God or I am the Supreme Being, helpful? Ramana. I am that I am. I am is God, not thinking I am God. Realize I am and do not think I am. Know I am God. It is said, and not think I am God. All talk of surrender is like pinching brown sugar from a brown sugar image of Lord Ganesha and offering it to Nivedya, so I don't really know how to pronounce that, but it's a food offering to the same Lord Ganesha. You say you offer your body, soul, and all possessions to God. Were they yours that you could offer them? At best, you can only say, I falsely imagined till now that all these which are yours were mine. Now I realize they are yours. I shall no more act as if they are mine. This knowledge that there is nothing but God or self, that I and mine don't exist, and that only the self exists is jnana. Thus, there is no difference between bhakti and jnana. Bhakti is jnana mata, or the mother of jnana. Question. Men of the world that we are, we have some kind of grief or another and do not know how to get over it. We pray to God and still are not satisfied. What can we do? Ramana. Trust God. Question. We surrender, but still there is no help. Ramana. Yes. If you have surrendered, you must be able to abide by the will of God and not make a grievance of what may not please you. Things may turn out differently from the way they look apparently. Distress often leads men to faith in God. Question. But we are worldly. There is the wife, there are the children, friends, and relatives. We cannot ignore their existence and resign ourselves to divine will without retaining some little of the personality in us. Ramana. That means you have not surrendered as professed by you. You must only trust God. Surrender to Him and abide by His will, whether He appears or vanishes. Await His pleasure. If you ask Him to do as you please, it is not surrender, but command to Him. You cannot have Him obey you, and yet think that you have surrendered. He knows what is best, and when and how to do it. Leave everything entirely to Him. His is the burden. You have no longer any cares. All your cares are His. Such is surrender. This is bhakti. Question. Sorry, I forgot a line. I'm just going to read the last sentence again. Leave everything entirely to Him. His is the burden. You have no longer any cares. All your cares are His. Such is surrender. This is bhakti. Or inquire to whom these questions arise. Dive deep into the heart and remain as the self. One of these two ways is open to the aspirant. Question. Surrender is impossible. Ramana. Yes, complete surrender is impossible in the beginning. Partial surrender is certainly possible for all. In course of time, that will lead to complete surrender. Well, if surrender is impossible, what can be done? There is no peace of mind. You are helpless to bring it about. It can be done only by surrender. I'm just going to read that one again. Ramana says, yes, complete surrender is impossible in the beginning. Partial surrender is certainly possible for all. In course of time, that will lead to complete surrender. Well, if surrender is impossible, what can be done? There is no peace of mind. You are helpless to bring it about. It can be done only by surrender. Question. Is surrender by itself sufficient to reach the self? Ramana. It is enough that one surrenders oneself. Surrender is to give oneself up to the original cause of one's being. Do not delude yourself by imagining such a source to be some God outside you. Your source is within yourself. Give yourself up to it. That means that you should seek the source and merge in it. Question. And this, it says here in parentheses, was given to Sri Ramana in the form of a written note. The question is, they say that one can obtain everything if one seeks refuge in God wholly and solely, and without thought of anything else. Does it mean sitting still in one place and contemplating God entirely at all times, discarding all thoughts, including even thoughts about food, which is essential for the sustenance of the body? Does it mean that when one gets ill, one should not think about medicines and treatment, but entrust one's health or sickness exclusively to providence? In the Bhagavad Gita it says, the man who sheds all longing and moves without concern, free from the sense of I and mine, he attains peace. It means the discarding of all desires. Therefore, should we devote ourselves exclusively to the contemplation of God and accept food and water only if they are available by God's grace, without asking for them? Or does it mean we should make a little effort? Bhagavan, please explain the secret of this surrender. And Ramana, after reading the note, he addresses everyone in the room. And he says, complete surrender means to be without any attachment to thoughts. No doubt. But does it mean to discard even thoughts of food and water, which are essential for the sustenance of the physical body? He asks, and he's referring to the letter here, should I eat only if I get anything by God's direction and without my asking for it, or should I make a little bit of effort? And then Ramana says, all right, let us take it that what we have to eat comes of its own accord. But even then, who is to eat? Suppose somebody puts it in our mouth. Should we not swallow it at least? Is that not an effort? He asks. Is that not an effort? And then referring to the letter, Ramana quotes, if I become sick, should I take medicine or should I keep quiet, leaving my health and sickness in the hands of God? And Ramana answers, in the book Sadhana Panchakam, written by Sankara, it is stated that for treatment of the disease called hunger, one should eat food received as alms. But then one must at least go out and beg for it. If all people close their eyes and sit still, saying, if the food comes, we eat, how is the world to get on? Hence, one must take things as they come in accordance with one's traditions. But one must be free from the feeling that one is doing them oneself. The feeling that I am doing is the bondage. It is therefore necessary to consider and find out the method whereby such a feeling can be overcome, instead of doubting as to whether medicine should be administered if one is sick, or whether food should be taken if one is hungry. Such doubts will continue to come up and will never end. Even such doubts as, may I groan if there is pain? May I inhale air after exhaling? Also occur. Call it Ishwara, God, or call it karma, destiny. Some higher power will carry on everything in this world according to the development of the mind of each individual. If the responsibility is thrown at the higher power, things will go on their own accord. We walk on this ground. While doing so, do we consider at every step whether we should raise one leg after another or stop at some stage? Isn't the walking done automatically? The same is the case with inhaling and exhaling. No special effort is made to inhale or exhale. The same is the case with life also. Can we give up anything if we want to? Or do anything as we please? Quite a number of things are done automatically without our being conscious of it. Complete surrender to God means giving up all thoughts and concentrating the mind on Him. If we can concentrate on Him, other thoughts disappear. If the actions of the mind, speech, and body are merged with God, all the burdens of our life will be on Him. I think I'll stop there for today. Thank you so much for being here and joining. It's so beautiful to hear Ramana's words. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.